All right, so I'm back for day two with this, and we put the Monty's treatment on this guitar. It's been sitting overnight for actually about 24 hours, so we're going to take the rag and we're going to wipe this off. It's as simple as that. And what's cool about this stuff is it does not stay on the frets. It just stays to the board. It won't change the neck. You can easily just wipe it off. It just only really affects the fretboard. All right. So we are getting all this off of here. And I mean, there's definitely markings from where this has just been wore out or played, or there's parts that are permanently stained, but they're flat in there, and this feels good. I mean, if the whole thing is, yeah, it'll have a little bit of rougher looks on it and things, but I mean, for the most part, this is feeling super comfortable. It's going to be a fine neck. So, getting all of this off of here. All right. So it definitely did. I mean, I'll show you the before and after pictures of this, but it is so much different than what it was, and that's in a really, really good way. So the board is definitely moisturized. It's like no longer dry through here. And yeah, it's got a whole new darker kind of look. And I mean, like I said, it's definitely wore away a little bit, but not bad. Not bad at all. Like, still has a lot of life in this fretboard. So, and the goal was with this guitar was not to, I could buy a new neck and put a new neck on. It's just a strap body, so you could go on and get a roasted maple neck now, anything like that. But goal was to bring this guitar back to life exactly as it was. So, all right, so now that all of that is off the material, what I'm going to do is we are going to check the levelness of the frets. As we can see on the first one, we're a little bit high. And here's what we're going to do right off the bat first. We're just going to do the whole neck. Try to get something. All right, high fret still there. Man, it's good. It's just barely high, but what I love about that tool is that it just kind of rests on the fretboard. You don't have to tape it off. All right, so that's perfect right there. All right, so all good on that. Now comes a little bit of fun on here. I didn't take much off of these, so I don't really need to crown these. I didn't get much off of there, so it was just a slight little touch. If it was a big maneuver, I would have had to have worked on that a little bit, but we're definitely going to still, like, I wasn't going to tape this off, but thanks to the power of a high speed, where I can high speed over this, we're just going to high speed to me taping this off so you don't have to sit here and watch all this. We will do that right now. All right, so we're all taped up. I cut a whole bunch of that out because that took forever. But now we are just gonna polish these bad boys up. Now I could have used this tool right here, and this would just go over the fret and you could do it, but it actually makes it a lot harder. Like, it starts bending and you got to do stuff. This way, at least, you can just go over this, and everything you have to do is covered. It's funny how when you just do the first coat on there, how much you can actually see how better this thing is actually getting. All right, now we're going to 1500 grit. Now that's the 2000 grit, and I haven't had this, which is a piece of this, like all in one that does, and so I can control this also. So, yeah, there's polish on here. Maybe I'll turn my hand to do this. All right, so these look really good right now. They look top notch, man. All right. So I fast forwarded. That took a while. Polishing the frets takes a while. I mean, it's a lot of hand kind of work that you're doing on it, but it's definitely worth it. If you're gonna do a guitar and you're gonna fix it, you might as well go all the way with it, man. Get it to look the best that it can. Don't need to take shortcuts. And believe me, I'm Mr. Shortcut on everything, so I'm getting better at doing that and just saying, you know what? Make it look the best you can make it look. Now that we've got the frets leveled, they didn't need to be crowned because I really took just a hair off the top of it so that they didn't have a flat spots. They weren't flat, so they just really needed polished, and that's what we did. We got all the grit off of them. So now when you play this guitar, it's gonna play smooth. It's gonna play like butter, man. It's gonna feel good. You're not gonna have any grittiness when you playing. You know, sometimes when you buy that new guitar, you get that especially on the budget side, they don't do really like polishing. They just kind of they level the frets for you, hopefully, but then they don't go about like polishing them. And you could feel when you feel the guitar, it has this like scratchy kind of feel. When you bend a string, you can feel it hitting that fret. We won't have that now because it'll be nice and amazing, and that's all we want, man. Life, all you should want is it just to be nice playing guitar. It's really the funny thing about working on these guitars and doing this isn't that like the work is overwhelming. It's the little tedious things like this, just taping off a board and then untaping the board, and it's this little stuff that takes the time that gets frustrating, that you're like, wish I didn't have to do that, but it's all part of making the guitar play great. So that's the end all. The end all is about what's best for the guitar. All right, so this is some cool stuff we are about to put on here right now that I really like. Still a little piece of tape on there. All right, tape gone. Now we are going to use this right here. This is Monty Presso's, well, not Monty's, it's Presso's, it's Monty's wax. And as you can see, I put a big clunk on here. Now, if you go to Monty's website, where it'll take you a little longer to get it because it's shipping from Australia, it'll take a couple weeks, but probably 2 weeks to get it. You can actually buy it a little bit cheaper than like at FU Tone, and you can buy a dual pack, which will give you one of each. And they sell, if you're someone that works on hundreds and hundreds of guitars, they sell like a tub of it that really is a big, like, you can do just probably 1,000 guitars with that. But this stuff you don't have to leave on like you had to leave on the other stuff. The other stuff had to soak into the wood. So this, we're going to let this sit for a couple minutes. You just want it to soak a little bit into the wood. So I'll entertain you here while we're doing this. I can't entertain you at all because I'm not that funny. And we got this on here. Letting it go. It's soaking in a little bit. And now we are going to buff it into the wood. And man, does it really, like, it really makes a world of difference on this. And I'll be honest with you, you don't need this stuff. Like, I mean, I love this stuff, so that's me. You get away with any of this stuff, like the Guitar One, like in the hydrating oil, and using like some nut sauce, which I have too in the drawer over there that I can use. But any of that stuff works. This is just what I like. And building guitars, I like this because you can dip the screws for the neck in there also. When you go to put them in the first time in the neck, kind of makes it a little easier. But I love the fact that you just leave that in the nut slot and it works as a lubricant for. All right, I can hear it shredding already. All right, this looks great, man. Wow. It really looks like a whole new fretboard. I mean, it's fantastic for 40 some years old, and this was in a garbage can. All right. So we got that done. And I will say what you didn't see, because I just didn't want to do off tone. These tuners are fantastic tuners. I was going to put new tuners on this guitar, but then I came to realize that these things are actually pretty great. And made me realize I'm keeping these. These are made in Japan. Like, they kind of modeled them after like the Clausen tuners. And really no reason whatsoever to change these out. So I was all set. I have a set of hip shots there, and I think the tuner holes were a little bit smaller in this. But a quick, easy fix is I have a 10 millimeter drill bit that can you just run it right through here, and then the tuners fit perfect. But the whole charm of this guitar is that it was made in Japan, and anyone that knows on the Japan guitars, they really went above and beyond to make prideful, really good guitars. That's why in the 80s, if anyone remembers from like 82 through 84 or 85, maybe even 86, they made Fender Squiers there. That was amazing. They basically, the issue was with them that made them so good was they were all the Fender American parts. They just shipped those parts to Japan to be assembled and done. But like in Japan, they took great pride with it, and they just made these killer guitars to the point that Fender was like, we got to stop making these. These are nicer than our as nice as our American made ones. So they kind of cut that out real quick. And then Squier, for that period after that, like late 80s through 90s to the early 2000s in there, Squier, I know older guitar players here will remember, Squiers were really bad. Like that time frame, they were not good. They were awful guitars. And you really were bottom of the barrel when you were reaching for that thing. But obviously, as time went on and CNC became more popular, like those Squier Affinities, and I mean, they're great guitars now for, especially for like projects if you want to build the Squier Debut. But then you could step up the line, which would be like the Epiphone, and that's like the Squier Classic Vibe series or the Paranormal series and stuff like that. Those are killer guitars. They are way upgraded from it. And now I see they're trying to like compete by making the Fender that's like made in Indonesia, maybe, I think it is, or Vietnam, and sells for $500, which is around what you would have paid for a Squier Classic Vibe. You just get Fender on the headstock. So, you know, if you're someone that wants to see, like when you're playing, you want people to see that, hey, it's a Fender, then yeah, that's a good option for you. But to me, I mean, this is just personal preference coming from me. Stop in your life, stop looking at the headstock. Play the guitar, and if you like it, you like it. That's just the best way to go about it. I don't care if it's $3,000. If you can afford that, that can go. But if it's a $150 guitar and it plays great for you, I've gone to pawn shops and played a bunch of like $150 like just player guitars that people played that are so broken in and amazing. You don't need to spend that anymore. And like I mentioned in a previous video, people will talk about a budget guitar and they'll go, "Yeah, but is it roadworthy?" Listen, man, that's the dumbest comment ever. I'm sorry. And I mean, maybe I'll take heat for that, but roadworthy can be made on a guitar for fairly cheap, and it's not that difficult. When you're talking about roadworthy, you're talking about components breaking down, pots, pickups, things like that. And nowadays you could buy CTS pots for $6, 500K from Guitar Center. Swap those out, put a new switch in, and bam, you're killing it. So, all right, we've got a finished neck here. Tuners are on. This is going to be my first time tuning one with the classic tuners that has the hole that goes in there. And yeah, this looks and feels great. So oh, it's already better. Yep, that's good. These are definitely like a lot of people do not like the truss rod adjustments inside of the neck. And I have to admit, I am one of those people. Because it just, when it's up top there or it's on the front of the neck, the one that's at the base of the neck now is super easy to do. This, it's not difficult. I mean, you're just taking the neck screws out, but you just got to be sure that like you get it right the first time, which I didn't do. So here we go. There we go. That is pretty good. I can even go one hair bit lower on this. Let me see something. All right, so we got no buzz up there. All right, beautiful. So what we want to do now is once you get that one set, is you want to set every other one without the string on there, because string causes more friction and more problems. So what you want to do is get everyone down to where that one is. Not gonna lie, these bolts are a little high, so they are really sticking kind of out of here. So my solution to that is there's one of two solutions I've mentioned before in a previous video. Is I can shim this neck, which isn't a bad idea. Not a bad thing to push it up a little bit, or I can just get shorter screws. And this one, I think I'll probably eventually shim the neck just to get it, because these are brand new screws and there's no reason to really be good for it anyways to have neck set properly. This guitar's been in the trash can and in the garage and stuff like that. So we are definitely going too low on some of these. Time is it now? 9:41. Man, getting late. All right. A little bit of adjustment we can put in here. All right. I mean, that action is perfect right now, so. All right, so back to the strings. We got one on. That was an adventure, but an adventure that was worth it. All right, so here we go. Always make sure you pull that string through, because it's one of the issues I see a lot of times too, is the string will fall back out and then you're tightening them and then all of a sudden you feel like it's tight enough. Then the string pulls back into the hole and suddenly you're... I could tell you which is weird, because I've never strung one of these with this kind of thing, but I've never seen people more excited about these tuners. They love these tuners. People are I even had a friend who got a guitar with these in here, and he was like, man, I love those tuners. They just hold. They lock so well. Oh, that one went much easier. That worked right away. The second I let go of that, and probably this one is like too long. So I was here winding this, so man, it's taking forever. That was definitely probably that one was way too long. All right, so we got them all on there. Now we are going to go to the tuner. This thing is the Rody tuner. If anyone was wondering, and it's a great little item. You set it, you can put in like 20 different tunings that you would do. And it's really accurate. I've compared it to every different tuner. All right, so here it is, all strung up to Tokina. I'm going to come back here once I stretch out the strings, and we're going to play this guitar, see how well it plays. All right, let's get to the playthrough.